broke the site.
By the way, you did it without our Twitter feeds going out. Right? I mean...
Well, your Twitter feed didn't go out.
Well, Thurrott didn't go out.
Correct.
So
mine did, because I always manually tweet them. But yeah, broke the site. That was...
I still don't understand how our site can be broken by anything. I'm kind of concerned by that. But
well, so here's what happened. Got a nice individual or whatever sent over an image of the Xbox Series S that Microsoft refused to announce. So I'm like, I'm going to do it for him. And and so I put the post up, and I was, because of the way the image came in, I kind of assumed that other people would be potentially getting their hands on this too. So
yep.
I got it
here. I mean, in the wake of your post, there was a bunch, like Walking Cat had some stuff. Windows Central had some information, by the way, about I forget what they call it, the ability to pay monthly for the console plus Xbox games. It seems like all of a sudden there was this wellspring of stuff.
So there was like the tipping point, and I was kind of not worried, I guess, whatever. I wanted to get it out there first, and so I wrote up a really quick post and hit publish. And what time was it? Like 10:15 p.m.
I noticed it. I checked my Google feed at 11-ish, and I saw your post, and it was in there somehow, and I was like, huh. So I clicked on it and got like a 520 or whatever that is. And then I spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to get Teams working on the iPad I was using. And I will say, literally, if I reached my arm out and there's a nightstand, there were 4 computers there I could have just used immediately to get onto Teams. Just a hilarious aside, I try to use the web clients on the iPad in Edge, and that is not supported.
Yeah. So anyways, the post goes out, and in a span of 0 to 15 minutes, we hit like 2 weeks worth of like normal traffic on the site. Like it just went astronomical, really, really quick, and just the servers just said.
So what does this say to us though? Like this level of interest, like Xbox obviously lost the current generation by a wide margin. There's some level of excitement about anything new. I mean, obviously, but I mean, we'll talk about this in a little bit. I mean, I think this console is incredible, and it's such a great idea, and the right time, right product, etc. But like, what do you attribute Sunday night, or I guess it was Monday night? I'm sorry, Monday. I think it was a holiday weekend.
Tuesday.
For us. Thought of it as Sunday night, but it was late at night. I mean, it's interesting, like that it would explode like this.
Yeah, well, I think it's a lot of people were just really curious about it. I kind of think is the thing, and also we have the right audience for it because we're primarily, we skew towards Microsoft. So it was.
Oh, do we? I should probably pay attention to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And just the stars align, being first with it, people wanting to know, and then the little server that could, actually servers that could. And so here's what happened. I'm not even joking. So we reached out to our managed service provider, and we're like, just open the bottlenecks. Like, we got to get the site back up. And they blocked my IP address because they thought I started a denial of service attack against the site, because they saw my IP hit the site, and then following that, there was just a massive influx of traffic. And so I'm like, Nick is telling us, Nick is our admin or our lead developer, and he's like, dude, like the site's back up. Like, look at GA. I'm like, yeah, I see like thousands upon thousands of people on the site. I'm like, I can't get there. And he's like, okay, do a couple things. And he goes, take your phone, get off your Wi-Fi, and see if you can hit the site. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I think our provider blocked you. And then he reached out to them.
Boy.
He's like, yeah, they thought I was the denial of service attack person, but it was just organic traffic, and it. Anyways, the site was down for not terribly long.
For Nick, this is the latest in a series of what we'll call trial by fire experiences that our technical people have had to suffer from time to time.
Yeah. Nick,
so, welcome to the company, buddy.
Nick gave me like a nice little like, maybe next time you do this, give us a heads up, sort of. Like,
yeah, well, but it was late at night on a Monday, I guess.
And it's not every
I wouldn't
day.
have thought this would have brought the site to its knees. It doesn't make sense. It still kind of bugs me. Like, I don't understand how that's even possible. But,
well, there's going to be some, I think, changes potentially in the future that will guarantee that will never happen again. But anyways, Whatever. So the
Yeah.
Xbox
By the way,
Series
I'm sorry
S.
to keep interrupting, but I mean, like for me last night, I don't know why that was in my Google feed. I guess I read a lot about Xbox or whatever, but the way that last night should have gone is I clicked on it and it was like, oh, look at that. Brad posted a cool thing. Nice. Good night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was not the way it went. But
No.
Yeah.
No, that was not the way it went. So went to bed having posted all this, and I wake up this morning and Xbox, like the official Xbox team, is just like, well, here we go, and just kind of gave up. Not really gave up, but they official announced it with a very good price point. I am shocked, honestly. Yep. So it's going to cost $299. The specs. Well, the specs are 1440p at 120 frames per second, ray tracing, variable rate shading, the faster storage drive, and then it can do upscaling to 4K, but it's going to be a 1080p, 1440p box with really high frame rate coming at $299 roughly around November 10th.
I game on a 1440p display.
Oh, geez.
And if you would talk to me on Sunday and said, hey, what do you think you're going to do for the next gen? I'd say, obviously, I'm getting an Xbox One X. With the understanding it would be stupid expensive and blah, 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 but whatever. Now I see this and I think to myself, no, I'm going to get this. I'm going to save a lot of money.
Yeah, there's no reason.
There's no spousal approval tax on this one. I could just buy it. No questions asked. No one worries about it. $500 or more, we'd have to have a discussion. But it's going to do everything I need, and it's going to be better than the console I'm using right now. And I got to say, in this year, with the trying times, I know we always talk about every article, every video you ever see opens with this in these trying times, but we live in trying times, folks. This is the right product at the right time. I mean, this is the Xbox version of an iPhone SE, the Xbox version of a Pixel 4a. It's not just good enough, it's good, and the price is great. And that's that kind of, I always use this term, it's overused a little bit, but like the kind of sweet spot of value, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like they could have delivered a $299 console. I expected them to, that I would not be interested in, right?
Yeah.
But what they delivered at $299, what it looks like they're delivering, I mean, we need to see, et cetera, but it looks like it has a super fast SSD, like you said, with that Velocity engine, 1440p at up to 120 frames a second. Are you kidding me? Like, that is a market improvement over the console I'm currently using.
Yeah.
And that's the Xbox promise. You move up the chain if you go from an Xbox One in this case to an Xbox Series, whatever, S. Everything you already have is going to be better in some way. And I've been waiting for this kind of benefit of the Xbox ecosystem to kind of reap benefits for Microsoft, I guess, or reap rewards for Microsoft. And I know this is a little out there, and I've been not negative, but kind of clear-eyed about where Xbox is. I think this could be the best holiday quarter they ever had for hardware unit sales.
It's not.
This could be a blowout quarter. This is the right thing at the right time. If you look at those two Sony consoles, for example, assuming the Xbox One X comes in at $599, I mean, what are they going to price the Sony things at? $599 and $549? I mean, $499 maybe. By having a kind of a step up in specs, they've allowed themselves to come in with a brand new console that is both cheaper than what Sony can do and is still better than the previous gen. It's so smart.
Yeah. This will be, I honestly just wonder if they're going to be able to make enough of them.
Yeah, yes, okay. That could be a problem for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about that, but that could be a problem. But that's it's a good problem. This is the type of Apple problem where they brag, we could have sold more if we could have just made them, like
the thing that's crazy here is we could be looking at maybe in a year from now, this thing being roughly $249.
Yeah, and by the way, you could apply that same math to the Xbox Series X. So if you were kind of looking at this gen and thinking, man, I'd really like to upgrade, but I can't afford $500 or whatever that's going to land at. I'm going to have to wait, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's something. I mean, you could kind of stutter step it and go here first, and 2-3 years down the road, the Xbox Series X is going to come down too. Mm-hmm. And, again, each step of the way, you're going to get a better experience. So
yep.
I don't know. I'm spending my money. This is what I buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have to be losing money on
having
this.
to have the best one and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And those people are out there, and sure, and that's fine. And you have a 4K TV and whatever. I mean, I get it. You need the disc. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have never once plugged a disc into any Xbox One other than very early on just for testing purposes. Like I played a Blu-ray movie of some kind. I don't need the disc. I don't use it to play Netflix and stuff like that. It's not up in my living room. It's right here. It's on a 1440p display. This thing is perfect. It is instant no-brainer. Yeah. Those kind of things are really rare.
Yeah. They've got to be losing money on this thing. They've got to be.
I don't know. I mean, and by the way, that's fine. I actually sort of think that you should lose money on hardware when you are not the market leader, and B, you have this other revenue stream that actually makes sense. And that other revenue stream that makes sense is Xbox Game Pass. That's how you stretch out the revenues that you earn off of a given console over time. And even though you may literally have lost money on the $299, if you're charging that person whatever number of dollars each month, depending on which one they get, you make money on that over time. It kind of, Xbox Game Pass has kind of solved the problem with hardware for Microsoft, which is in a relatively low volume market, it's hard to make profits. Surface has the same problem. Xbox has never made a profit, not really. Not on hardware, certainly not on hardware. And this is how you get there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch. Now the next big question is when is there going to be availability or pre-orders? I think now this is based prior to them not like just saying, screw it, we're going to announce it. Was I think like 10 days from now, something like that. But
and that will give you a good idea because, not that Microsoft's particularly good about this, but what you should be able to do is, depending on which retailer you go to, is have an idea of when that thing will arrive, and because it might stretch out, right? And if you want it for the holidays, we may get to the situation where, this is like an Apple type story. You don't really get this with Microsoft, where availability of this thing is stretched out to January, February, whatever. We'll see.
We will see. It's that's the Xbox Series S $299. We should be hearing more about that probably now until re-release. The big question now, we're just waiting on Microsoft to officially announce the Series X, which is more than likely to be around $499, something like that. And
that's my guess.
Yeah. And then the official release date, which I think is going to be around November 10th.
Some months ago on Twitter, I offered up my prediction of what I thought the prices were going to be, and I can never find stuff like this. I know I mentioned
Twitter's terrible for that.
Yeah, and our site's terrible for it too. Like I think I mentioned it in an Ask Paul article, and I've been searching for it this morning. I probably came in at $299, $499, or $349, $499. I can't remember, but those are my guesses. And with the asterisk that if Sony went first with the pricing, or no, not even went first, that when Sony went public with their pricing, if needed, they would bump the prices down. That it was imperative for them to be the value option this time because they got so screwed last time when they went in at $100 over the PlayStation 4. Speaking of which, do you think Sony has a plan B for a PlayStation 4.5, or something? I mean,
maybe. I mean, yeah, it'll be, if they are truly, let's say, at least $100 more expensive. I mean, that's
what happened last time, and that did not go well for Xbox.
Yeah, but there's also a massive built-in audience for PlayStation that's 2x what Xbox is.
But you know what? Going into the PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation, I argued that Sony's fan base is not that faithful, and that company had done to that point so much to screw up their relationship with their fans that this would be the time when Microsoft could kind of pull ahead. Whereas I felt like Xbox fans were kind of rabidly passionate about the brand and the company and the product, and that they would come out in droves. And none of that happened. Like none of it happened. And I think that shows the sensitivity of the price. There are other factors. I know Xbox. I mean, Sony has these exclusives and blah blah blah. I get that, but at that time when those consoles launched, I think Call of Duty, which is the biggest, or it's certainly one of the biggest game franchises, was exclusive to Xbox. But you got
the
things
DLC and all that stuff. Yeah.
So there were huge advantages for Xbox at that time, and man, it just flipped on its head.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing too to keep in mind. Building upon that is that Sony believes very much in what they call generations. I mean, obviously they're generations, so not a lot of their stuff is backwards and forwards compatible the same way the Xbox
That's,
brand
by
is.
the way, another huge problem for Sony. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yep.
Here we are.
Listen, Microsoft got kicked in the nuts last time, and they have really adjusted their strategy dramatically, and that is like I paying dividends, whatever term I used before badly. I mean, I feel like this is the time when it can all come together for them and make sense. And listen, I know people talk like this about things like, oh, could they get back into the phone market? Windows, maybe it's time for Windows. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, nut job. I don't think things that can't happen can happen. But this, and it's not like the video game market reverses itself and Microsoft has 2/3 of it compared to 1/3 for Sony or something. That's not what I mean. For this to be successful, Microsoft simply has to be competitive with Sony in consoles, and they've given all this talk about services and doesn't matter what machine you use, and the kind of general assumption going into this just a week or so ago was like, well, they don't really care if they sell any of these things. And I look at this and I'm like, nope, that's all wrong. They care, and they are going to sell a lot of these things. It's good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Microsoft is doing, we give them a lot of flack when we don't think they're doing that right, but this is one of the times that they deserve a lot of credit.
Yeah, exactly right.